Thou shalt not fall. The Lost Boys! Yeah, welcome back to the Halloween special, my friends. We are chipping right away. We're at the final 3 entries, and here it is. This is the second of 2 movies that I had never seen before this year's special. And yes, in case you're wondering, I did get my hair cut, just so Kiefer Sutherland did not chase me and my old-style mullet down and did not make me drink his blood. This is just an insurance policy here, but it needed to happen. So the heroes of this movie are teenage brothers Michael and Sam. They move with their single mother to a small town in Northern California known as Santa Carla. And while the younger Sam meets a pair of kindred spirits in geeky comic book nerds Edward, Corey Feldman, and Alan Jamison Newlander, the angst-ridden Michael soon falls for Star, played by Jami Gertz, who turns out to be enthralled to David, played here by Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland turns out to be the leader of what looks like a motorcycle gang, but they turn out to be creatures of the night, blood-sucking vampires. Now, this is a movie that my mom has scolded me for so long I have not seen. I'm finally remedying that. And you know what? I think The Lost Boys just might be one of my new favorite vampire flicks. Like, I'm serious. This movie was so dope. First of all, how cool is it that a good chunk of this movie was shot really close to where I grew up? If you ever go to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk and you see, like, movies on the beach, The Lost Boys is very frequently shown on those movie nights. And now I kind of want to go to the boardwalk and experience The Lost Boys because I feel like that would be such an immersive experience. Especially if you're watching it on the beach late at night. Like, you just feel like you're even more into the action. Not that you aren't to begin with, because I feel like what director Joel Schumacher does so well in this is he makes it feel so real. Even though there's some very silly moments in The Lost Boys, don't get me wrong. Like, you just feel like you are in it with these guys. And again, much like a lot of the other entries in this year's playlist, you want to see these characters make it out of this situation alive. Most of them, so to speak. David can go f*** off. But yeah, let's talk about this acting, shall we? Let's start with Kiefer Sutherland, since I've mentioned him a couple of times already. This may be him at his utmost cheesiness. This guy was just coming off playing the teenage bad boy in Stand By Me the year prior, and here he is adding another role to his villain arsenal, and oh my god, it looks like this guy is having the time of his life. As is the case with the rest of his gang, which includes Alex Winter, who would go on to do Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. The heart of this movie are these 2 brothers, though. Jason Patric as the older brother Mike. He is so freaking awesome in this. I feel like this is the precursor to the moody teenage heartthrob that Robert Pattinson was in the early 2000s. Except he's not in a lame movie. Jason Patric is in an awesome movie. And this is a character that goes through the emotional ringer. And you just constantly feel like you're on the edge of your seat with him. And you constantly feel like your palms are sweating throughout the entire runtime of The Lost Boys. Just make sure that your palms are not sweating if you are hanging off the bottom of a bridge like monkey bars. Like, oh my, like, why would you do that? This is so preposterous. But he lets go, and it turns out that he falls right back into his mattress. And yeah, he was dealing with a bunch of undead vampires the whole time. Unless I mention these vampire effects, the makeup and the contacts in the eyes, the practicals in this movie are something else, man. Haim plays the younger brother Sam, and he is very solid in this movie as well. He's a very likable character in the sense of a character from The Goonies or Stand By Me, which is very ironic I say that because Corey Feldman is also in this movie. And it is so funny to watch him in this because it feels like his voice has deepened since The Goonies and Stand By Me both had come out. Corey Feldman was a huge star. And this guy has such an ego. This character, along with his brother, played by the very solid Jamison Newlander, they are comic book know-it-alls. It's like Poindexter. If you ask them a statistic about which comic book is the most rare, if you ask them when certain events happened in the comic book timeline, they will certainly tell you. But these guys also take these vampire comic books as gospel. They're not necessarily selling the vampire comics to Sam as a comic book necessarily, but it's almost like Sam is being given the employee handbooks. And I think that part of it, the way that was all presented, wow, I loved it. Love The Lost Boys. It's so fun. It's quite hilarious in given parts, too. That whole dinner scene where the mom is basically seeing this guy who runs the videotape store. And the kids are basically suspicious that this guy is a vampire as well. So instead of feeding him grated Parmesan cheese to put on top of his spaghetti, they give him minced garlic instead. It's really freaking funny stuff. But let me address one more positive, believe it or not. Joel Schumacher, like I said, great direction in this. And may his soul rest in peace. He had a very up and down, polarizing career trajectory. Like, seriously, I feel like if he had started off as the director of Batman in 1989, if he didn't join on when Batman Forever was penciled in, and then he just reinvented the wheel on what that original series was, I feel like his career would be looked at with a lot more glowing tribute. Because this movie is really freaking awesome. I love a lot of the framing that he has. Like I said, I love a lot of the practicals. Thomas Newman's score, once again, is absolutely iconic. That children's choir singing the biblical verses is ugh. But I do have two big issues with The Lost Boys. First of all, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the editing in given parts. Like, when Michael actually does come together with Star, I feel like a lot of those scenes are shot like music videos. And I get it, the point is to be cheesy, but, there's a line, you know? And also, one other thing, I feel like, without spoiling anything, that the big reveal at the end of this movie was kind of unnecessary. I feel like if you ended The Lost Boys at the hour 20 mark, hell, even the 1:15 mark, I probably would have left satisfied. But it feels like this last little resolution in the third act was tacked on just so it could go over the 90-minute mark. Which, as it sits, this is still a very easy watch at 97 minutes. But to be fair, the ending kind of feels a bit extraneous, to me at least. All in all, though, The Lost Boys is a great time. It's one of the more fun vampire movies that I can remember. I can't wait to experience The Lost Boys again, hopefully on the boardwalk for the most immersive viewing possible. I'm gonna give The Lost Boys an A-. Thank you, Mom, for the suggestion. I'll make sure to listen to more of those from my parents as this channel rolls on. Guys, let me know what you thought of The Lost Boys down in the comments section, and let me know what you guys would like to see me review for next year's special. And even beyond Halloween, I'm always taking requests, y'all. And if you want to keep up to date with all things movies and entertainment, it's a great community over here. This channel is the place to be. Feel free to join us by becoming a subscriber and tap on that thumbs up as well. I would really appreciate both of those things. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. I'm very excited to announce that the second to last entry in this year's playlist, we're going to celebrate another decade, another 10th anniversary special. We're going to look at the very underrated The Cabin in the Woods. That's a very fun movie, and I can't wait to look back on it. Guys, thanks again for tuning in. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.